Just a bit of background about who we are. So we're an architectural practice over in Melton Mowbray. We're about 22 staff at the moment, sort of anywhere between 20 to 30 staff. Primarily, we work in the private sector. So first of all, we needed to know what our key issues were. Procedural items, is it procedural things you do in jobs? Is it procedural things that you do processes in projects? One thing we have is we have just far too many spreadsheets. Everything's tracked on spreadsheets and it's just a bit archaic. And then we have too many paper checklists. We're trying to move away from that and become paperless where we can. And then not by anyone's fault, it was just by default the fact these systems run in the background and run by admin. It meant they weren't really visible to people. And then also the job running side of the projects weren't tracked. So we tracked key parts, but the overall job running wasn't tracked. So between stages, it was very difficult to understand what stage a job was at or what status it was at. We needed to recap on what our targets were in the first place. It was to remove our spreadsheets, which it's done for sure. The biggest thing is it increased visibility to everyone, because although we all could get to the spreadsheets, no one could. I couldn't find them. I didn't know where they were on the system. They were quite archaic. Unless you knew what you were looking for, you just couldn't find it very easy. And then you couldn't report on anything very easy from a spreadsheet unless you knew what filters you were doing. So Tracker does all of that for you, and then gives automated reminders, because that spreadsheet was useful when you wanted to look at information but gave you nothing back. It didn't say, oh, by the way, planning application's due for determination, what are you going to do about it? It just, unless you looked at the spreadsheet, didn't tell you any of that information. So it got rid of appointment, planning and building regs spreadsheets for us and put it all into a tracker. So our very complicated appointment spreadsheet became that outline information. And then you can extract key data really quickly. Where are we with certain things? So this is an example of a report, and this is showing all that's outstanding. So for example, there's a project down here where, great, they've paid the mob fee, but actually they haven't signed their appointment. So that gives a reminder that we're not proceeding anywhere until that appointment goes in place. Or equally down here, great, they've signed their appointment documents, but actually they haven't paid any mob fee. So again, these projects won't be starting on design until we've done that. So it's a really easy way to report on things like that you couldn't do from a spreadsheet. And everyone can see this, so everyone can do their own report. You can run this off at any time. Nothing's hidden information. This is an example of a tracker on a job. This project is looking at technical design stage. So it reviews questions about what's been done previously. Are planning matters resolved? Is there anything that the client needs to sort out before we continue? And then a series of checklist questions that we would do as we're going through technical design. As you can see, they're either greyed out, marked as not applicable, or we've got nice green criteria in there that tells us that it's all been done. And then quite clearly, you get a big red flag on any tasks, so they jump out at you where they're not completed. You kind of need to think about what you're actually going to track before you start building this and what you're actually looking to do. So we looked at it from two sides. We looked at it from the RIBA plan of work. What did we want to track on the RIBA plan of work? And we knew from rollout that the target was to at least get us to end of technical design, so building regs submission. We are less involved in the last three stages. So probably, 80% of our projects maybe finish at building regs submission. So that was our focus in Tracker. So that is a future development of Tracker, is how we can then expand it to 5, 6, and 7. Alongside that was looking at what spreadsheets we have. So what spreadsheets we were trying to remove from the system. So comparing the RIBA plan of works to our kind of version of that, we separate projects into appointment, feasibility, concept design, develop design and planning, and then building regulations. That's kind of our version of stages 0 to 4. So this is our landing page. So this is the page that everyone sees, automatically loads on everyone's computer every day. And everyone is supposed to look at this at least once a day because it will be open on startup. We've set it up so that we get the reminders up here. So as you can see, I've got a nice flag here telling me I've got overdue tasks that need action in. And you'll see here, we've got a tasks tab. So that takes me to my to-do list essentially. And this is a to-do list of, doesn't matter what job it's on, what stage it's at, it's purely everything that's on my to-do list, all in the timing date. So the last date that's available, telling me if it's incomplete, everyone's to-do list. So if I click on someone else's task, so this now shows you a very similar screen, but it shows you it in job grouping. People have different preferences on how they like to see jobs and how they're ordered. This is one project that we are currently looking at, technical design stage, but we've gone through a series of history on that, where we've had a main application go in, we're at technical design, and we're now in the process of discharging conditions. As you can see, we've got first discharge conditions application went in, it's flagged as overdue. Planning departments are just swamped at the moment, but it just shows you anyone can jump onto this project and see exactly what the history of that was. They can get to all the documents very quickly, so I can click on straight away and find that acknowledgement letter. And then within that task is assigned to me as an action. It's got some outline notes at the side to give people a bit of a clearer view of what's happening in there. And then within the task itself, it's got a series of notes that outline the key information. We've written our own guidance notes, but it also allows you to track all of the history. So in this case, every time we chase the planner, there's a record in there of what was asked for, what was followed up. We do get clients saying, what are you doing? Why is my application going nowhere? Can you prove what you've done to kind of follow that up? So we can export that as an Excel file and say that to the client. This is every update we've had on this project, and this is what the latest information was. It tracks all of that in the background for you. I have 2 discharger conditions applications that are coming up. So these are completely overdue, and this determination is coming up tomorrow. How this links in, it also links in with our knowledge area. So we've set up a dedicated planning page on this. So within this task, I can get straight to our planning page. So this is all planning related information. Everyone in their office has their own little section, and everyone has a link direct to their planning applications. So for example, Richard and Rob are away this week. We can go onto this page for them, and I can quickly click on each of these links and see where they are with the planning portal page. It also allowed us to do any latest updates, information, and have a load of useful feedback down the side. So within here, we've got a task which is all about doing the research at technical design stage. And then again, within there, I can click on the radon information, takes me to that task, gives me a bit of guidance, and then takes me straight to the UK radon map. So I don't have to find anything. It's all there in front of me. We've created an interactive checklist within the subtasks itself. Within here, we've got key questions we want to ask, make sure are covered off. These are all things that most people would be doing in the office, but we just had no idea if they were done, or if people forget to do them, they're ticked here. If we, for example, say start at develop design, that would bring in a series of tasks that are relevant to develop design tasks at planning stage. Whereas if we clicked start at technical design, it would bring in a whole different set of tasks. It doesn't have to be entirely linear. Everything doesn't have to be a one step follows another. It can branch out. It integrates so seamlessly. It's not just a task. It links in so many other ways to so many different things. So this is the documents that we can find really easily. But one of our tasks is the client brief. The client brief can come in so many different ways. So within that task, you can drag and drop into the client brief, and it will file it into the right place. So I don't even have to think about where I'm putting it. I just drag and drop, and it files it straight back into our system for us. Don't even have to think about where the template is, how to search for it. You just click on the link. This is plotting out all of our projects. One thing that's really handy is you take a call, potentially you take a call, you take an inquiry and saying, oh, I'm in Stamford, I'm based down over here in Stamford. Have you done any experience of projects in there? I can open the map and go, yeah, brilliant, I've done one here. I can find out about it. Or you might be preparing a design and access statement, and then you think, oh, I don't know where to start for a design and access statement in Bourne. The map shows you actually we've done 2 projects in Bourne, so is there any information over there that I can use from them? Equally, they ring up and you want to know what local authority they're going to be in. So this is probably the key thing we use the map for a lot, especially the borders where you think I don't actually know which that one falls in. So I know my project's in Bourne. I can click on that and it tells me straight away it's in South Stephen District Council. There's a couple we have in Melton a lot. These two, Upper Broughton, Nether Broughton, I can never remember which one's in which. I can go straight to the map and say, oh, brilliant, that one's in Rushcliffe, that one's in Melton. So that's a really great feature of the map. Obviously, we're familiar with projects over here, but equally, you might get a phone call up saying, have you done a project up in Scotland? And it actually turns out we have done one up there. So yeah, the map's a really great feature on that. This page is like walking into the library. Everything is in front of you, but you might think, okay, I've come in here to look for technical information. So I will simply click on the technical search button. It now presents the library back to me, but only shows technical information. So it's filtered that entire list. Or I equally are looking at here and go, right, what's the sustainability thing? And the good thing about this is that you can then give each page a page owner. Now we've got each of these pages dedicated to a single person. For example, Tom can go in here, add a new guide, a new book he's found. He can tag it in here. He can add any handy guides and references. So he could fill this. He could put 10 new items on there and he could put 3 new items on there. And the way it's set up is they will all then instantly appear in the main library because it's referencing that information. So you don't need one person to build a library. We've now got that. I'm the overseer of the main page of the library. But we've got Tom on the sustainability, Michelle's on the planning page, and Ian does the technical page. So we're introducing it to a wider team of people. Joe's leading our Revit page, and we've done integrated videos. So at the moment we're doing Revit training. So these are all embedded tutorials that we've got for Revit and all Revit resources and links. We did a full launch in January. We set aside the office to have a full day of it. So we launched it in the morning to the whole group. We had like coffee morning, presented it on the big screen, showing everyone what it did, got some initial feedback, sort of comments. Then everyone went away back to their desks to actually go and have a look at it, get a feel for what it was showing on their screen. We then split the group up into 3 teams and we then sat in the boardroom with them to show them a bit more in detail about what that did. End of the day, we all got back together to talk about follow-up on what we were doing next.